Well, it's another cold day here. It's about, well, depending on where you live, it's 35 degrees here. So for me, it's a cold day. I don't want to do anything outside. And besides that, I got this big pig sitting here next to this other big red pig. Anyway, got the Costco heater going, and you can see I got the battery out of this thing. It's sitting on the bench. I got that compensator eliminator sprocket installed. Everything's ready to go. Got the chain tensioner, clutch. You know, it's got some play. I got it back together, and this thing would not start. You know, and it's confused. I'm not a mechanic. I've got some mechanical background, but I don't work on Harleys. I don't work on engines and stuff every day. I was hoping that I'd put that compensator on and somehow miraculously it would start. Well, it didn't. I had the battery in there and I'm cranking, you know, cranking and cranking and cranking. It would not fire. And then the battery and all the power just went to zero. I mean, zero. It is cold, you know. I know that this is a lithium battery. If you look on the internet, you'll find these are real popular batteries. It's a lithium ion, not to be confused with a lithium iron phosphate. I figured out there's different kinds of lithium batteries. The battery voltage went to zero. And I'm just like, oh shit. Well, let me back up a little bit. I'd been cranking it and cranking it and cranking it. And I thought, well, let's go ahead and put the charger. Let's go ahead and put the charger on it. So you can see it's a lithium ion battery charger, 2 amp, 12 volt, 2 amp. And I put the charger on there, and it only charged for a couple minutes, and it said full. Okay, great. That tells me that my batteries wasn't even suffering. Anyway, then I'm cranking, and it went to zero. And I'm like, what the hell? I must have blown my battery up. Maybe it's too cold. Maybe it's not supposed to be charged when it's cold. It's not like it was freezing, but it was, you know, it was in this garage, it was probably 45 degrees. I don't know what it is right now, but, you know, this is an infrared heater. It doesn't necessarily, I'm not going to get into that. It was cold, but come on, it's not that cold. Well, the voltage went to zero, and then it spiked back on. I cranked it a little bit, and then it went down to like 6 volts, and then 0 volts. I'm like, what the hell? So I pulled the battery out, and this battery, I bought it in May. And turns out I still have the receipt. So look them up on the internet. The receipt didn't have any information on how to get hold of them or how to start a warranty claim. I had to go online. It was big time battery. They seem to have batteries for all different. I picked this up for $278. They gave me a $25 discount. It was $255 out the door, shipped to my house with free shipping. But again, 5 months old. You know how it is. You know how it is when you're trying to warranty something. They said, well, when did you buy it? And I said, 6 months ago. It turns out it was like 3 years ago, because it seems like it was 6 months ago, but it wasn't. This was 5 months ago, and the receipt even said so. I called them up and talked to a lady. She says, okay, fine. You need to go down to O'Reilly's or whatever auto. You need to get a battery test done, and then you need to have a copy of that printout, and you can send that to us. Okay, that sounded easy enough. We have an O'Reilly's right downtown here. Not to mention, I've got my own battery tester. You know, it's Harbor Freight. It's brand new out of the box. I tested the battery, and it was at, again, it was like at, well, I said 6 volts. It was at 8 volts. You know, when you hit this button here, it went from 8 volts, which is bad, dropped down to 0 as soon as I put a load to it. So the battery's bad, even though the charger indicated that it was fully charged, and then there was 0 volt. There was nothing. This battery had nothing. Oh, okay. So I pulled the battery out. And that's when I did the test. Anyway, I'm confusing you all, I know, but long story short, I started a warranty claim for the battery. And that was, you know, of course, it's the day before Thanksgiving, 2 or 3 days before Thanksgiving. By the time I get a hold of the proper person at Big Time Battery, who turns out I had to talk to a supervisor because they weren't telling me what I wanted to hear. I talked to the supervisor. She told me the same thing, that I needed to send this battery back at my expense. They would test it. If they could, they would charge it. And if it turned out that there's nothing wrong with the battery, that it just needed a charge, then they would send it back to me fully charged at my expense again. And I'm like, wait a minute, why do I even need to send it in? I've got my own charger here. Plus, I did go down to O'Reilly's and they tested it. So anyway, the next day she emailed me back. I'd sent them the pictures of this, and the next day she sends me an email. She says, well, we can go ahead and replace your battery, or we can refund your money on a prorated basis. They would refund like $196 off of a 2-year warranty. This battery has a 2-year warranty. I'm like, all right, I'll go for I want the refund. It's like at this point I want to bail out a Big Time Battery. Well, the story's not over. That was the day before Thanksgiving. At Thanksgiving dinner. Yesterday was the day after. Today's 2 days after. And last night, I came out here with the battery sitting on the bench. That's when I finally hooked up the charger again. And I didn't check the voltage before I started charging, but I put the charger on, started charging, and it indicated that it was, that it was charging. Like, So I let it charge for 10 minutes. I came out, and that's when I tested the voltage. It was 12.7 volts. I'm like, what the heck? So I let it charge for another 10 minutes. I came out, it was 12.8. I'm like, ooh. I checked it every 10 or 15 minutes, you know, for about 45 minutes worth, and it went up to about, 13 volts. And I got it all the way up to 13.3 volts last night. I came out here right before I went to bed. It had been charging for about 3 hours. I went to bed about 11 o'clock. I went out here, and this was really warm. So I shut it down for the night. I don't want no fires. Let me go back to say something else. This, even though it says lithium ion, the guy on the phone at Big Time Battery tells me, oh, those were the ones that were mislabeled. I'm like, mislabeled? What do you mean mislabeled? Yeah, those are actually a lithium iron phosphate battery, but they're marked lithium ion. Those are different. Those are two different kinds of lithium batteries. Well, my receipt doesn't say one thing, or it just says lithium battery. And you go online and it says lithium ion. It's just got this same thing online. I thought this is what I was buying, but along with this picture, on the top, it prints out and it says lithium iron phosphate. So it was their bad. I mean, they had a misprint, and I don't know. Here's the thing, though. It's still on their website. It still says the same thing. And talk about confusing, because I went in thinking I needed a lithium ion battery. That's what my last lithium battery was. It was a lithium ion. So that's what I figured I needed again. Well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. yesterday I'm online and I watched 100 videos, not 100, but quite a few videos. And you get some of the guys like me that don't know what they're doing. They tell you this and that. I don't put too much stock in what they say. But then you come and you listen to these nerds that know what they're talking about. And I mean, they're like engineers, and they're telling you the differences, and they're not necessarily teachers, but they're trying to tell you what's what. And after watching quite a few, I still don't know what I'm doing, but I know that the lithium iron phosphate batteries are actually better than the lithium ion batteries. They're both lithium ion. Ion just means that the electrodes inside the battery are made out of carbon or iron. I don't even want to go there. Don't listen to me. I'm an idiot on that stuff. But I'm just saying though, the lithium, I can't even pronounce it. Lithium iron phosphate batteries are the new ones. Those are the even better ones. And that's, I think, what happened is they were making these batteries. They were lithium iron or lithium ions. Then they went to the lithium iron phosphates. They didn't change the labels. So they were mislabeled, but that shouldn't matter. And my problem was, well, I charged it with this charger. I charged it with a lithium ion charger. This is a very popular charger. You can find it online anywhere. It sells for about 30 bucks. It's just a cheap charger. But this is the only battery I've got that needs it. It's not like I'm not like I'm one of those nerds and they're sitting there building batteries from scratch, and they're into ham radios and shit too. No, I'm just a guy that's got a Harley. This bike doesn't use the same battery. Nothing else. I don't need well, this is a lithium ion charger for my Makitas. My wife's weed eater has its own battery, but I think that's lithium ion also. I know I'm going all over the map here, but what I'm going to try to do, this battery seems to be charged. I put it to the test last night, and it seems to be holding the charge. It was good. It registered. It was clear up here in the 14 volts. And when I put a load to it, it dropped down to 12 volts, but it stayed there. And it was a 15-second test, and it stayed right here at 12 volts. So I guess the battery's good. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in, try starting it again. We'll see what happens. Along the way, I'm trying to think, why wouldn't it start? Besides the battery, why wouldn't it start? Because it was cranking just fine. It seemed to have plenty of power, but why wouldn't it start? Well, I think I mentioned on the last video that I cleaned the spark plugs. So I stopped off at the Harley dealer and I bought some new spark plugs, and I bought this crank position sensor. This was $72. Spark plugs were, I don't know, like 10 bucks or something like that. I also got some plug wires, but they're not in. They ordered those, and they ordered me a new kickstand spring. Anyway, it came to be everything was about $110 or something like that. So anyway, for now, I'm going to put that battery in. I'm going to try to start it. If that doesn't work, I'll put that in. The plugs, I cleaned the plugs. These are now my spares. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll change those out too, but I'll do one thing at a time. Try the battery. If that doesn't work, try the sensor. Let me tell you, if that doesn't work, I might be taking it to the Harley shop, because I don't know what to check on them after that. This bike has ran great up until now. I took it to Sturgis 2 years ago, and it didn't skip a beat. Last summer, all I did was ride down to the hardware store and back, maybe 10 times, go down to the hardware store with gas is, what it is, It beats 10 miles to the gallon driving my truck. So I don't know. Wish me luck. I'll get back with you. Thanks a lot.